Hi, today you guys are taking notes over nonfiction elements, and first we're going to make a flip book. So you need two pieces of paper. You should have scissors on your table. You'll need a pencil, and you can play and pause as you need to. Let's begin. Nonfiction, what do you need to know? So first we're going to have two pieces of paper up and down, fold them in half long ways. Okay, crease, open it back up, cut it straight down the middle with scissors. I got 4 long pieces of paper. Okay, now that you have your 4 pieces of paper, we're going to line them up. So I'm going to take one piece of paper. I'm going to hold my thumb so we can leave an even space. And then I'll line it up just under my thumb. I'll do that again. Place my thumb, line it up under, place my thumb, line it up under. Okay, so now I have my 4 flaps, and we're going to fold them backward. And when I'm folding them backward, I'll fold it down, but I don't want to fold it all the way down. I want there to be another flap, so you'll do another finger space. So before I crease, I'm going to count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should have 8. If you have 8, then crease it. Okay, now you need to hold your flip book up in the air. I'll come around and staple, so this is a good time to pause. Now that I've stapled your book, we are going to label. And I want you, even if you use a marker, I want you to start with pencil, and you're going to have your title, nonfiction, with your name. Types of nonfiction on the next flap. It'll look like this. Reliable sources, summary and paraphrase, opinion, direct quotes, leads, and cite a source. Get that labeled. You can pause now. Okay, so you're going to flip your first flap, and what I mean by that is this is a flap. I'm going to flip it up. Now pay attention to where to write. So the first thing we're going to write is going to be on the top flap, so this top part. So you're going to write all of this up on this top part. It's true writing that is based on facts, real events, and real people. So write that right now. You can pause. Nonfiction is true. It's not made up. Real, like news. We're going to talk about that next. Okay, so on the bottom of the flap right here, you're going to write down at least as many as you can fit. You don't have to write all of these. You don't have to write all of these. Okay, write down types of nonfiction. What can that look like? Might be a book report, a dictionary, encyclopedia, a news article, a speech, a textbook. Write those down on the flap. Oh, this is a question I would ask you in class. Is everything on the internet or in the magazine true? No, it's not. Okay, so next is reliable sources. So we're going to flip up our next flap. So what does the word reliable mean? Actually, this is us chatting, so we're not taking notes, but what does it mean? Like if a babysitter's reliable, what does it mean? This is when I have a class discussion with you guys. Yes, it means that it's kind of like Dora the Explorer right now. So yes, that means that your babysitter would show up on time, they would take care of the kids, they wouldn't destroy the house. What if a car is reliable? What does that mean? Yeah, it wouldn't break down on you. You can count on it. You can trust it. And then if a friend is reliable, what does that mean? You can count on them. Okay, so now we're going to flip our next flap. On the top flap of reliable sources, you're going to write, what is a source? It's a book. It can be an internet article, or it can be an audio or video recording. So in our informal argument, we didn't look in a book, but we did look on internet articles, and then we also watched videos. So all of those are sources. It doesn't just have to be a book. So how do I know if a source is reliable? That's where you're going to write down here, right? How do I know if a source is reliable? Write that question. Here's some ways that you know this is legit. I can trust it. The author is evident, and is an expert. So like we had judges, and they weren't just like the pie eating contest judge. They were the judge of the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office. If you can fit this in there, a lot of times a website, it'll have .gov, .edu, .org, .mil for military. Usually .com stands for commercial, and not all the time, but most of the time they're trying to sell you something. But .gov, .edu, .org, .mil, a lot of times it's just great information. They're not trying to sell you anything. And then the last one, purpose, audience, and time. What's the purpose of it? Like Target.com, they're trying to sell you stuff. So if it's .gov though, .edu, they're trying to educate people. Who's your audience? You probably don't want a source from nickjr.com because that's for preschoolers. And then time, you don't want an article from 1850 because that's way outdated. You might want something in the 2000s. Write that down. Okay, next, flip your next flap. Summary and paraphrase. On the top, we're going to write down what is a summary. To sum it up, it just means a brief statement of the main points. Write that up here in the top. To summarize, to sum it up, or who, what, where, when, why. Okay, write all of that on the top. You can pause now if you need to. Okay, we're skipping a paraphrase. Oh, no, we're not skipping the paraphrase. Paraphrase will be down here on the bottom flap. So it's to restate or rephrase what the author said. What does that mean? It's not using word for word. It's not a quote. Basically, you're just saying it in your own words. And it's to say it in another way. So if you were absent one day and you said, hey, what was the lesson yesterday? What did the teacher say? You'd say basically what they said was, and you'd tell what they said, but in your own words. Write that. You're still on the bottom flap. You're writing all that right here. Okay, next, opinion. Flip your next flap. Opinion. On the top flap, my opinion. It's a person's view, judgment, or attitude about something. You already know what opinion is. It's your beliefs, your point of view, your thoughts or feelings about the issue, about the article, about the topic. Write that all on the top. Okay, we had a lot of space on that one. Direct quotes, flip your next flap. You guys just put these in your informal argument. You said according to so-and-so, and then you had direct quotes. Direct quotes is using the author's language word for word, like literally copying straight from the article. And it's not cheating because you're using quotation marks. So make sure to write that down using quotation marks. Here you have room. You can put it up here in the top. You need a lead into the quote, which we'll talk about next. And then you need to tell where you found the information after or before the quote. So it's not just a random quote. You need to say, where did it come from? So here's an example. Write down example on the bottom. I do want you to write this, so just write it. Okay, copy it down word for word. According to Justin Bieber, comma, here's your quotation marks. My mama don't like you and she likes everyone. Quotation marks. And then this is called a parenthetical citation. It's citing where you found it. This was online. So copy that down. You can pause it now if you need to. So this is leading into the quote. Where did I find it? This is my actual quote, word for word. And this is citing the source, which we'll talk about last. And you have to have quotation marks, and then the period goes all the way at the end, because all of this goes together. So we're going to save it for the last thing. And let's just discuss for a minute. Why do I have to put quotation marks around my quote? Well, if you don't, you're stealing ideas, okay? It's okay as long as you have quotation marks or you give credit, like paraphrasing, you still have to give credit. So what's that called? If I steal someone else's work, it's called plagiarism. Don't do that. That's cheating. You're smart. You don't need to steal someone's words. Okay, so we're ready to flip the next flap. Leads. Like a line leader, they go first.